This is Magda, the Warsaw Guide, and today in a video I will show you something different than a cemetery. I still remember about the cemetery, but I want to go there and make some short videos with the cemetery, and as autumn is coming, I guess they will be spectacular. But today we're going to talk about something connected to the cemetery somehow. When it comes to the subject, we're going to talk about the Warsaw Shrines. There were always shrines in the territory of Warsaw. It's a very lively Polish tradition. When you travel through Poland, you can see a number of the roadside shrines, roadside crosses, that the older ones, that the new ones. Very often you can see the crosses at the crossroads. According to the tradition, the crossroads were always a place where the veil between our world and the supernatural world is very thin. Many times, especially in the Middle Ages, the murderers, the thieves, the witches were killed, executed, and buried at the crossroads. So after death, their eventual spirits wouldn't find their way back to the village or to the town where they came from. And so even now, you can see the shrines and crosses at the crossroads, especially in the smaller places. The shrines are very often certain waypoints. They're often marking the road coming from one place to another. Certain saints are often put in the certain spots. For example, John Nepomuk, a Czech martyr that was drowned, he is very often put near the bridges or the running water to protect people from drowning. Sometimes he's also put at the crossroads as a person that guards the soul of a pilgrim of some sort. The shrines and the crosses very often may commemorate someone or something, and they may be devotive offerings for different things, saving people from different circumstances. And in Warsaw, we have some of the shrines like this. The oldest one being the second oldest monument in Warsaw, was erected in 1683. So it's the 17th century, and with all the destruction in Warsaw, it survived. It's in a quite good spot in the Krakowskie Przedmieście street, very close to the Castle Square. It's Our Lady of Passava, made by Simone Bellotti. Simone Giuliano Bellotti, who lived in Poland at that time. And Our Lady was a votive offering for saving him and his family from the disease that was spreading not only in Warsaw but also in Poland at that time. Well, 17th century in Poland was in general the time of war, and what usually follows war is the famine and the epidemic. That what happened. But when Bellotti finished his sculpture, another significant thing in Polish history happened. What happened? The victory at the Battle of Vienna, when John III Sobieski, our Polish king, defeated the Ottoman Empire. So Bellotti went to the king and offered the statue of Our Lady also as a votive offering for the victory at Vienna, and it's there as a dual votive offering. But we also have the shrine, the Roadside Shrine in the district Bielany. But back in the time, in the 19th century, when it was erected, it was a small village called Wawrzyszew, and at that time, in the 1850s, there was another disease. It was cholera. Killed about 5,000 people in Warsaw and in the villages that were surrounding the city at that time. But people of Wawrzyszew, some people of Wawrzyszew survived and built that roadside shrine to thank God for it. There is another shrine, a votive offering, for that same reason, at the Biawanka District. That was a village of Biawanka at that time, and also the votive offering for saving people from the cholera disease. There's also another shrine in Biawanka district that can be traced to the beginning of the 20th century. That shrine is located close to the village that was called Tarchomin. Biawanka is a very, very vast district. And it's the votive offering from a couple that was owning quite a huge mansion there. It's close to the river. It's close to the Wisła River, so every spring there were floods, and almost every year they had to fight very hard to protect their land and their cattle as well. This one year, 1906, it was probably so bad that nobody expected that they will survive, that they will rescue anything from there, but they did. So there is a shrine by the side of a small street leading from the parish church to the parish cemetery at that time, and it's still there, recently renovated. And when it comes to Warsaw, there are different types of shrines. Yes, we may think about statues of saints, of Our Lady, of Jesus Christ, and there are some, let's say, standalones. But there are the statues that are also put in a small box that may be hanged on the wall and in the gate passage. There may be some special building, a small shrine that was built on purpose to hide the shrines inside, the statue inside, or a painting inside it. So it's also possible. Sometimes there's a painting or a statue just at the side of the building or at the side of the road. People are estimating that there are about 500 shrines right now in Warsaw. They were mostly on the right bank of the river. The left side of the city was destroyed in almost 90% during the World War II. So many shrines haven't survived that. Those that did, they could be destroyed by what went after the war, what happened after the war. And as you know, the communism happened in Poland. Many times the workers were told to destroy the ornaments, the decorations on the walls of the house, of the townhouses, of the tenement houses, because it was too festive. The workers don't need decorations in their lives. And as the communists were fighting with the Catholic Church, imagine what they would do with the shrine. There was a superstition for them. In those buildings that survived the war, on the left side of the Wisła River, where there were those people that were representing the new system, those new communists that were living in those buildings, when they would have a shrine, well, they wouldn't have a shrine. They would destroy it. The right bank of the river, the Praga District, was always the one that was supposed to be worse after the war. So people that were living there, they were the simple people. Well, it was considered to be a bad district. At the time, with a high crime rate, dangerous one. When I got to Warsaw, when I was working for 4 years at school in the Praga district, people were telling me, are you sure you want to work there? Well, now things are changing. Things are different, as Praga is the original, mostly original district of Warsaw, and you can see all those townhouses, tenement houses, the little wooden houses that are still there, originating from the early 20th century or even the late 19th century. It became very fashionable to live in the Praga district. It's well communicated now with the metro line, the second metro line. And Praga is also famous for its shrines. So you can see a number of them in the Praga district. Like this one I'm showing you at the screen right now. Why the shrines were in the buildings? The community needed something to pray at. You know, you can't always go to church. Sometimes you're too weak, too old. You want to pray with your neighbors. And there was like a little center of the world. In a time of peril, in a time of danger, people wouldn't risk to go out there to the church. So they stayed inside the house and in the courtyard, a courtyard that really looked like a well, enclosed by 4 walls of the townhouse. They would have a shrine, a place to pray. This month we have celebrated the 100th anniversary of the so-called miracle at the Vistula River, the Battle of Warsaw. Not many people know that in 1920 the Soviet Union decided to spread the good news of the communism towards the West, and they wanted to start with Poland. Poland as an independent country was very, very young then, 2 years old, not even, a year and a half. So the communists were quite sure that Poland would be a very easy prey. It wasn't. As it happened, the major battle, the Warsaw Battle, was happening in the time surrounding the 15th of August. We call it our Lady of Flowers, or the Ascension of Virgin Mary. That was called that miracle at the Vistula River. But in fact, that victory was owed to great intelligence service that broke the code that the Russian forces were using. But around the time of that battle, around the time of that war, people were praying in the courtyards at the shrine. Then 6 years later, there was a military coup d'etat, so-called the May coup, where the military, under the leadership of Marshal Józef Piłsudski, overthrew the democratic government and took power in Poland. As the fights were happening in Warsaw, that was also another time when people were afraid to leave their houses. And then in September 1939. The World War II started. But I'll tell you a little more about the Warsaw War Shrines and why they spread like mushrooms after the rain in the occupied Warsaw next time. In a week, basically, because I've already have the LD material, but I don't want it to be way too long, like with the Wisła, the one with the Wisła River. So I'll just save it for next week, and it will be the next week. So thank you very much for watching and listening to my video. I hope that you find the subject of the shrines very, very interesting. And it's just amazing to see all of them, decorated all the time with candles, flowers, normal and artificial. It's a tradition that's pretty much alive, and I love it, to be honest. And I'll continue the story of the Warsaw Shrines next time. So till then.